Greetings, and welcome back to the 31 Nights of Frights. Before we start today's video, I just want to let you guys know that Arrow Video have just started their 𝙎𝙬𝙊𝙀 sale. In this sale, you can get up to 50% off Blu-rays, 4Ks, and limited edition releases. On top of that, I also have my own discount code, 𝑅EALHORROR, that if you guys use at the checkout, you'll get an additional 10% off your order. The discount code can be used on all products on the site, besides pre-orders, but it can also be used on discounted items in the sale. There'll be a link in the description of this video so you can head over to the Arrow store, take a look at all the amazing releases that Arrow have on offer, and then use the discount code to save yourself some cash. And just to let you guys know, the 𝙎𝙬𝙊𝙀 sale lasts all month. Anyway, onto the video. In the previous episode, we explored what many people consider to be the scariest movie of all time. Of course, that was William Friedkin's The Exorcist. The film shocked audiences upon its release and caused mass hysteria. It made a tremendous cultural impact, and its lasting legacy is like no other. This is still, and seems like it always will be, the film that many people think of when they think of the horror genre. Despite the film's controversial themes and visuals, The Exorcist went on to win numerous awards and become the first horror film to be nominated for the Best Picture category at the Oscars. The movie that we'll be taking a look at today was also nominated for the Best Picture Oscar, and it won several other awards as well. It also became the first ever summer blockbuster film, which helped establish the Hollywood business model and became the highest grossing movie of all time at its time of release. In fact, it was the first movie to gross over $100 million. And if all that wasn't enough, it's the movie that made director Steven Spielberg a household name. Of course, the movie is 1975's Jaws. Another timeless classic, Jaws tells the story of Police Chief Martin Brody, played by Roy Scheider, who lives in the New England beach town of Amity Island. And with the help of marine biologist Matt Hooper, played by Richard Dreyfuss, and a shark hunter called Quint, played by Robert Shaw, they go out to sea to hunt down and kill a great white shark that has marked the shores of Amity Island as its own territory and is terrorizing the summer resort town, devouring its beachgoers. Like most people, I love this film. The movie was adapted from the novel of the same name, written by Peter Benchley a year prior, who actually appears in the film at one point in a cameo role as a reporter. The thing that I believe makes Jaws such a special movie is the fact that it's not just another creature feature sort of thing about a killer shark that just goes around eating people, just like the millions of shitty shark movies that have followed in Jaws' footsteps. Isn't the shitty shark movie a whole genre of its own at this point? Anyway, Jaws is a film that focuses a lot of its time on building its main characters into real and likeable people, and as a result of that, we as the audience care a lot about them, and that's the key to why this film works as good as it does. It's a well-written story with well-written characters. On top of that, the performances from the cast are just perfection. I think most people would agree that one of the highlights from the film is when Quint delivers the chilling monologue about the USS Indianapolis. The actor Robert Shaw deserved an Oscar for that scene alone, in my opinion. There are times in this film where you feel like you are genuinely on the boat with these three guys. You really start to get to know them as people, and you end up rooting for them to succeed, and also not get eaten by a huge great white shark. But the fact that you come to love these characters adds to the film's suspense. Speaking of the shark, which was actually named Bruce after Spielberg's lawyer, you don't actually see much of it throughout the movie. In fact, the first time you get a good look at the shark is over an hour into the film. Jaws was actually the first major motion picture film that was shot out in the ocean, and this resulted in an absolute nightmare of a production that went over budget and way over schedule. It's very well known that the animatronic shark that was built for Jaws broke down a lot. The shark was extremely unreliable, so to conquer this issue, they made the shark's presence known in a variety of different ways. The first way is through the use of the yellow barrels that they use to track the shark. When they appear on the screen, you know that means the shark is around. This actually ended up being a blessing in disguise, as for one, this created added suspense, and it taps into the idea that what you don't see is scarier than what you do see. And also, when the shark finally does appear on the screen, it's way more impactful. Spielberg himself said that this resulted in the finished product coming out more like one of the works of the master of suspense, Alfred Hitchcock. Like most directors, Hitchcock must have been a massive influence on Spielberg, and that's shown no better than the shot of Brody that uses a camera technique called the Hitchcock effect. And the animatronic shark does look incredible, by the way. And despite all the technical problems, it still looks stunning to this day, and it always will. There's no CGI here. That is more or less a real shark. Practical effects all the way. But the most effective way of suggesting the shark's presence was through the use of the iconic musical score written by the one and only John Williams. Everybody knows the music from Jaws. But funnily enough, Spielberg thought that John Williams was joking when Williams showed Spielberg this 2-note motif he had written for the film, but obviously it worked to a tremendous effect. Only an artist like John Williams could write down 2 notes and make it both iconic and terrifying. But besides the main theme, the rest of Williams' work on this film is just fantastic. And despite this film being a thriller, we even get moments of that sort of whimsical John Williams sound that would become a defining characteristic in his future works on future Spielberg films. I actually watched Jaws last year at the cinema as it was released for a limited time in 3D. It was an experience that I knew I just couldn't pass on, so me and my friend went to the cinema to go watch it, and it looked amazing. It's surprising how good this film from 1975 looks in 3D. The shots on the boat taken from high angles in particular looked unreal, and it was funny to see people still jumping at the floating head jump scare. I'm sure the 3D helps with that, but it's still as effective today as it would have been back in 1975. And since we're on the subject, I think it's worth noting that this film looks insane in 4K. It just goes to show how good the cinematography is in this film. It's impossible to watch Jaws and not admire how visually stunning this film looks. Jaws is also a film that seems to be forever at the forefront of popular culture, like most of Steven Spielberg's works to be fair. But there's always merchandise being made for this film, and it just goes to show its undying popularity. In fact, 2 of my favourite NECA figures I own in my horror collection just happen to be the figures of Quint and Hooper. NECA did such a tremendous job on these figures, by the way. The Quint figure in particular looks absolutely outstanding. The likeness to the actor Robert Shaw is absolutely spot on, and you can really tell that NECA put a lot of love into both of these action figures. And we're still waiting to hear an update on their upcoming Bruce figure that will hopefully be releasing sometime very soon. So in conclusion, Jaws is nothing less than a masterpiece. It's a film that's well written, well shot, well directed, well cast, and every other possible thing that can be done well. John Williams' score has gone down as one of the most iconic musical themes in all of cinema, and Jaws made a household name out of Steven Spielberg, who many people consider to be one of the, if not the, greatest director in history. Jaws is a film that, at its core, has a lot of heart, and the spectacular performances from the 3 leads are nothing short of outstanding. In terms of its horror aspect, the way Psycho made everyone scared of taking a shower without locking the bathroom door, Jaws made people scared to go into the sea, and I'm sure that this film has that effect all these years later. In short, it's timeless. So that concludes today's video. Let me know down in the comments what you guys think of Jaws. Did it make you scared to go into the sea? And join me in tomorrow's episode as we return to the work of George A. Romero and take a look at what may be the greatest zombie film ever made. I'll see you there.